Hello everyone, welcome to a new video where I'm going to be giving an introduction to dynamic ARP inspection. Firstly, I want to apologise for the several delays that have been with releasing new content. I hope this doesn't happen in future, so please accept my sincere apologies for this. And yeah, hopefully I'll be producing great content for your benefit in future, and these issues don't happen again. So firstly, I just want to give a disclaimer. The information that's been presented is only for educational purposes. It's not to be used for malicious purposes, ever, at all. So that being said, lesson objectives. Firstly, you need to understand what is dynamic ARP inspection about. Dynamic ARP inspection DAI. What is it about? Why do we use this? And then, why can gratuitous ARPs go wrong? I'll explain what a gratuitous ARP is and why it can go wrong. And then finally, how does DAI filtering beat gratuitous ARPs when they go wrong? And the malicious gratuitous ARPs, how can DAI filtering help us in this case? So firstly, just want to give a general understanding of ARP, a general explanation of ARP. So address resolution protocol, ARP, is how our hosts or a router in a LAN resolves the layer 2 MAC address for another host or router in the same LAN. So we have because basically when you've got a client or a router in that case that are trying to that are in a LAN and they're trying to communicate with another router or a host device, and that router or host device, say in this host device, you got PC1 wants to communicate with PC2 in the same LAN, but PC1 doesn't know PC2's IP MAC address. Because it's we're communicating in LAN, we need to communicate via MAC addresses, because that is how communication occurs on layer 2. But we don't know the MAC address, so a broadcast message is sent out asking who has this IP address. So I know this of, let's say, 10.1.1.1.5. Who has this IP address? When host 2, PC2, gets the broadcast message, it will say, yes, this is me. Here's my MAC address, so you can communicate with me. So it's a discovery process and resolving the MAC address for the host device or the router that you want to communicate with. So that is essentially what our address resolution protocol does. It's basically mapping the layer 3 IP address with the layer 2 MAC address of the corresponding device that you want to communicate with, be it a host device, a PC, or a laptop, or a router. So that's what ARP is doing. Now with dynamic ARP inspection, this is checking those incoming ARP messages that are being received on untrusted interfaces against the IP MAC binding table and or the ARP access control list to confirm the authenticity of the ARP message. So basically, we have ARP messages, and those are being received on the untrusted interfaces, which are the host client devices, and so the clients are receiving ARP messages on those untrusted interfaces, and what needs to happen is we need to make sure that those messages are actually legit and not being altered in any malicious way. Otherwise, what can happen is basically our ARP cache or ARP table, if you will, that will be corrupted. The information will be corrupted. So the binding table is basically our source of truth here, which will actually we can use to check IP addresses and MAC against the MAC addresses. Yeah. The analogy I like to think of it is if you've got a country and you've got an airport within a country. I said the capital city of a country, airport, and their flagship airport. That airport has a list of untrusted countries and trusted countries. Countries where you'll trust the it generally will trust the people who are coming from that country to be good citizens of the country, good people who, so they are basically get easy access into a country. They'll get easy access. The ones who are from the untrusted countries, those countries have a bad reputation. Those people, those people who visit haven't had a great reputation in the past, so they are on the untrusted list. So there needs to, so in the same way, you've got untrusted interfaces and trusted interfaces. Okay, the untrusted interfaces are the ones where connecting into client devices, because the client devices, that can be where the trouble happens, because rogue clients can come and try and alter the IP MAC binding table as by sending dodgy ARP messages. So this is the problem here. So we need to check the IP MAC binding table to ensure that the IP address the IP address is, and the MAC addresses have the IP and MAC addresses match. You need to ensure matching, just like when you have when we have officers that check visas and check passports, and they're checking that information is correct. Passports are legit, visas are legit. There's no dodginess, there's no fraud going on. So this is the job of dynamic inspection. Okay, you can think of it like an inspector here. And gratuitous ARPs. Now, gratuitous ARP is one that's sent out without an initiated request. Remember that broadcast message that I spoke about? That doesn't happen here. So instead, a gratuitous ARP is just sending a reply. It's just sending a reply saying, remember that what PC2 was saying? This is my MAC address. Here's how you can, okay, now you can contact me. Well, in this case, what happens is that reply can be altered by a rogue client, and this gratuitous ARP can be exploited. So what I'm going to show you now is how this can go wrong. So if we look here at PC1, we've got switch 1, router 1, and what happens is, here's the ARP cache of router 1. Router 1 knows that this IP address of PC1, this is the IP address of PC1, 172.16.2.105. It knows that's the IP, that's his IP. However, what happens is PCX tries to alter this ARP cache, so it sends a gratuitous ARP reply saying, my IP address is 172.16.2.105. It's trying to take fraudulently claim that it has that IP address when it doesn't. The MAC address is the legit MAC address of that is the legit MAC address, but the IP address is wrong. So what happens is ARP cache now gets the wrong information. It thinks that 172.16.2.105 belongs to PCX. Okay, so PCX is a rogue man-in-the-middle host that sends out dodgy gratuitous ARP reply in order to falsify R1's ARP cache. So this will cause future frames destined for PC1's IP to be sent to PCX. So this is the problem here. This is how a man-in-the-middle attack can happen. So the traffic that was intended for PC1 will go to PCX, and that is wrong. But PC1 will still receive them afterwards, and I'll explain that later in another video. But PCX will be seeing the traffic that was destined for PC1. So it's a big problem. It's a big problem, and this cannot be happening. So in the next video, I will be talking about how DAI filtering can beat gratuitous ARPs. What is ARP rate limiting? What are ARP inspection optional features? And configuring dynamic ARP inspection. So thank you for listening, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you.